Now we have the mic on. Oh my god. We had someone remind us in the live stream before we went on as well. And now we have... oh my lord. That one.
I did.
Top left, honey. This one.
I did.
Yeah, this one.
That.
There we go.
Why is that even on?
I don't know. We even had someone very kindly email us a big poster that said turn on the mic to stick on our computer monitor. And I really should have printed it off yesterday. And I didn't.
Okay. We are Digital Hammurabi.
Hi!
We really suck at this. That's what I've learned.
We do.
Yeah.
We try really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps at all, but we do try really hard.
I wonder if we should move that green
Fail
screen
anyway.
further that way, because I feel like we have to sit way back and there's still... Well, anyway. Well, we have been doing our book club, and you can't see my left arm at all. That's all right. We've been doing our book club, and we've been going through the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is awesome.
And the last one was like November.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done one of these. So we thought we should really finish up Gilgamesh. And I'm going to England on Friday, so we thought we need to do this weekend, really. Finish up Gilgamesh before I go, and then when I come back we can start something else for our book club.
Indeed.
I don't know what. We'll find something.
I don't know.
So, oh, my mum's here. Hi, Mum.
Good, I would say we're usually better, but...
We're not. That's a lie.
Yeah,
no.
We're not better.
I think, and someone please correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever had a live stream since we started using OBS and stopped using Google Hangouts. I don't think we've had a live stream start with the mic actually on.
Yeah.
I think the first 10 seconds minimum is me and Josh going. I mean, less of because I don't think anyone actually talks like that, but you get the idea. It's really hot. I'm going to turn down the heating.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Part of it is the fact that we're incredibly embarrassed because we keep sucking at this so badly. So we are going to finish up. I'm just scooting his board.
Okay.
I can't take it. There we go.
Okay.
I can't take having to sit back that far.
Boolinator says he doesn't care what people say about us. We're all right in his book.
Oh, well, good.
Which, actually, thank you. That means a lot.
That does.
Let us see. And your mum's in the chat. We have a parental...
They're watching out.
Yeah,
That's
thank you,
what it
guys. Nice to see you.
I wonder if I could just resize this. Can you do that?
Yep.
What if we do that?
We're going to shrink now, which
Is that...
I'm not sure why we're doing that.
I don't know. Because then we can scoot that... Wait. Yes, that way? Can we scoot that way? Well,
sure.
I think you'd have... Because you got to type over there a lot. And then I can see now... Well...
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Let's just get on with it.
Let's just get on with
that.
it. Okay. I think we should prepare in the future.
You mean while Oliver is awake?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so we don't actually have a lot of time to do, things.
No. Because
right.
if Oliver's awake when we start preparing, he wants to help. And if you've not seen a 1-year-old try and knock over a green screen, I don't recommend it.
Yeah. And they're calling for 7 inches of snow out here tomorrow, so we're running around kind of prepping for that. Anyway.
I did actually buy salt for the driveway, which is the first time we've remembered to do that before the snow actually arrives in about 2 years. So I feel very prepared and very organised. For once.
Well,
Gilgamesh.
Yeah, where did we leave off?
I think we were actually starting the last tablet.
There we go. That's better.
Oh, but we have your teaser trailer first.
Oh, right.
So
Josh
God. has...
I'm so afraid to do this because
Josh has been working all morning to put together his Daniel prophecy video. So we have... we need the mic on, I think. We have...
Want to go through the desktop?
No. That's just for...
I don't understand how this works.
I don't know. I can't remember. So Josh has been working to put together a video about prophecy in the book of Daniel, and it's been sitting on the desktop for the past 2 weeks, and I keep saying, I'm going to edit it, and then I don't do it. So he's started doing it, and he has a little bit to show you as like a trailer thing.
So I will turn the volume up like this?
I have no idea. This might not work.
Yeah, let us know if it works.
Yeah.
Can you think of some important prophecies from the Old Testament? Perhaps you thought of the young woman in Isaiah 7, or the messianic figure in Isaiah 53, or even the serpent in Genesis 3. Many of us, however, are drawn to the prophecies in the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel purports to predict the coming of the kingdoms of Media, Persia, and Greece, as it was supposedly composed in or around the 6th century BCE. However, in this video, we will demonstrate that historical inaccuracies and linguistic evidence from the book itself seem to strongly indicate that it was not written during this early period, but after the events that it prophesied in the middle of the 2nd century BCE.
No, don't touch that. Sorry.
I touched it.
There we go. Hello.
I wasn't supposed to touch that button.
So, Boolinator said that it's usually easier to move the camera. I believe you. Unfortunately, our camera is attached to our computer, which is backed up against the wall. There is genuinely nowhere else for us to do this.
It's the thing.
So we have about 2 foot of space between our desk and the bed. So we have 2 feet in which to put the green screen and our chairs and try and make the camera work. So one day when we move and have a little bit more space, this will...
Yeah.
I'm hoping the production quality will go up. I mean, it might not. This is us. We'll probably still forget to turn the mic on.
I don't know how to not forget that. So was the audio okay? Could everybody hear it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
People said that they could see it.
Awesome. Well, so that's about halfway edited now. I just wanted to kind of give a teaser for it. So pretty cool.
Hooray.
All right. Well, where did we leave off in Gilgamesh?
I think we're going to start tablet 11.
Ah, yes. Tablet 11. The famous, wonderful, majestic, had to translate it from my comps. Tablet 11.
I had to translate it for my comps as well. I didn't get very far.
Show off.
I didn't. It was, my Akkadian comp was...
She's really smart.
Sometimes.
All right. You want to start us off?
Yes.
Well, why don't we do a quick recap for
We
everybody?
should, because it's been so long since we've done this. So Gilgamesh is king of the city of Uruk. He's loud and boisterous and does unpleasant things to his citizens. He fights the men and has sex with the women. So to try and kind of tame him a little bit, the gods make Enkidu, who's this wild man who lives off in the forest. And there's reasons, but Enkidu comes to Uruk. He and Gilgamesh become bestest friends in the whole world and possibly lovers. The text describes Gilgamesh loving Enkidu like a wife. And they decide that they should go off and kill the guardian of the cedar forest in Lebanon, Humbaba. So they do that, and then they come back and they basically get cursed because the guardian of the cedar forest was kind of put there by the gods, and you're not supposed to kill things that the gods make and set up to protect stuff. So as a result of that, the gods decide that one of them has to die, and it can't be Gilgamesh. So poor Enkidu has to die, which is very sad, and Gilgamesh goes into mourning for a very long time, and ultimately decides that he should go on a quest for immortality. Because if Enkidu can die, then so can he, and he doesn't really want to die.
Which is really the point of the epic.
Yeah. So we are at the end of Gilgamesh's quest for immortality. He has crossed... travelled through the mountain where the sun travels every night to get to the other side of the world.
Where the moos are protected.
Where the moos are protected,
by...
not spaceships. Not spaceships. See, we say this in jest, and one day someone's going to cut a clip of us talking about spaceships.
And it'll be up on Ancient Aliens. It'll be great.
No. So he travels through this mountain and crosses the Sea of Death and ends up with Utanapishti, who is the Mesopotamian Noah figure. And he basically asks Utanapishti, and actually that's where we are now, he's asking Utanapishti to share with him the secret of immortality.
How'd you get eternal life?
Because I want some of that.
Mm-hmm. All right. That was a really awesome recap. And you looked damn good doing it.
Do you know why I'm so good at recapping?
Because
a very handsome professor in my first or second year of Akkadian had us recap the whole of Enuma Elish, pitched at 5th graders as part of our exams.
I just think it's important that people can do this.
It is.
And you have clearly learned your lessons well.
Thank you.
She was an awesome student.
Okay, Tablet 11. Said Gilgamesh to him, to Utanapishti the distant, I look at you, Utanapishti. Your form is no different. You are just like me. You are not any different. You are just like me. I was fully intent on making you fight, but now in your presence my hand is stayed. How was it you stood with the gods in assembly? How did you find the life eternal? Said Utanapishti to him, to Gilgamesh, Let me disclose, O Gilgamesh, a matter most secret. To you I will tell a mystery of the gods. And what follows is an account of the Mesopotamian flood story, which is very exciting and caused quite a stir when it was discovered.
And far doper.
It is far doper. Yes. Dopest? Can we say it's the dopest flood story?
The dopester.
Dopest of flood story.
Dopesterist.
Oh. Superlative
Yes.
upon superlative. The town of Shurupak, a city well known to you, which stands on the bank of the river Euphrates. This city was old. The gods once were in it, when the great gods decided to send down the deluge. Their father Anu swore an oath, and their counsellor, the hero Enlil, their chamberlain, the god Ninurta, and their sheriff, the god Enugi. Princely Ea swore with them also, repeating their words to a fence made of reed.
Oh, we have a super chat. I can't see it.
So we have Rayano Gray saying...
wait,
sorry, Josh has to read it in his hillbilly voice.
Rayano Grace for $5. Thank you for all your hard work.
You're very welcome.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows we're not mocking anybody that's giving the super chat. This is, we're trying this out. Does anybody like when I do that? Is it really, really goddamn annoying? And so I should never ever do it again. We did it in the last stream. I don't know. I guess.
I mean, people seem to enjoy it. They certainly sent more money. So.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic.
Princely Ea swore with them also, repeating their words to a fence made of reed. O fence of reed, O wall of brick, hear this, O fence, pay heed, O wall. And the reason he's talking to the reed fence is because all of the gods, and we find this in a different account, all of the gods swore an oath that they wouldn't warn humanity about the flood. And Ea decides that actually he quite likes humanity. He doesn't want them all to drown. So instead of going and telling a human being, he stands one side of a reed fence and has his favourite human being stand on the other side. And he talks to the reed fence and just accidentally, Atrahasis, this person, hears Ea's instructions on how to escape the deluge.
And we want to be careful, just as a side note, because, if you remember, I don't know if you remember from Sitchin's stuff or that whole, I don't know, genre or whatever. Mm-hmm. I remember it because it was so frightening. That there's this idea that Enki, actually, was it Sitchin? Or it was Lord Rael? I don't remember. They're all the same. That sounds bad. But that Enki was the one that created all of these beings for his own purposes, and so that he could get his own little army together, and then the gods decided that was immoral and that wasn't what they were supposed to do, these hybrid human god things, and so they were going to destroy them because that was the right thing to do. And Enki, being really crafty to keep his army in place, tricked the rest of the gods by doing this. That's not really the motivation here. And actually, Dr. Steve Tinney has a really good lecture on this on University of Pennsylvania YouTube channel, I think. And anyway, it's about having this secret lore. This, Enki's the god of wisdom, and Utnapishtim is, one of the ones that's going to maintain this secret lore. Humanity has to maintain it, has to keep it, and so somebody has to stay alive. But of course, that secret lore, it's sort of ironic because then the gods, even though Utnapishtim is the one that's going to, or Atrahasis is going to be the one that maintains that wisdom from before the flood, he's then banished to one of the faraway Nagu, at the end of the earth, where Gilgamesh has to get. So that wisdom is actually now taken off and hidden somewhere. So that's part of the reason that Gilgamesh is the one that brought back the secrets from before the flood, because he makes it to Utnapishtim.
Utnapishtim.
So, anyway.
Hooray. Right, so we have Ea talking to the reed fence. O man of Shuruppak, son of Ubartutu, demolish the house and build a boat. Abandon wealth and seek survival. Spurn property, save life. Take on board the boat all living things seed. The boat you will build, her dimensions all shall be equal. Her length and breadth shall be the same. Cover her with the roof, like the ocean below. And if you're interested, there's actually a lecture online, I think from the Oriental Institute on YouTube. Irving Finkelstein, who is one of the curators... Finkel, sorry, not Finkelstein. Irving Finkel, one of the curators at the British Museum, actually supervised the building of the Ark based on Mesopotamian texts.
Or you can see it at the... Is it Ken
Ark
Ham?
Experience, yeah.
Is it Ken Ham?
I think so. Ken Ham's Ark. He got it wrong though, because according to Irving Finkel, it's actually a coracle, which is a giant round boat made.
I think Ken Ham got it right because you can see their modern rivets and stuff.
Okay, well that seems reasonable. I should put a link to that in the description so people can find it because it's a really interesting watch.
Ken Ham's Ark?
No. I understood and spoke to Ea, my master. I obey, O master, what thus you told me. I understood and I shall do it. But how do I answer my city, the crowd and the elders? What do I say to them when they ask me why I'm building a giant boat? Ea opened his mouth to speak, saying to me, his servant, also you will say to them this, for sure the god Enlil feels for me hatred. In your city I can live no longer. I can tread no more on Enlil's ground. I must go to the ocean below to live with Ea, my master, and he will send you a rain of plenty. In abundance of birds, profusion of fishes, he will provide a harvest of riches. In the morning he will send you a shower of bread cakes, and in the evening a torrent of wheat. So, he has to build a boat, but he can't tell anyone why he's building a boat. He's got to tell them that he's going to go and live at the bottom of the ocean with his god, Ea, instead of...
If I hit that, will it come up? Mm-hmm. Okay. I would imagine that everybody in Shuruppak went... Sorry.
At the very first glimmer of brightening dawn, at the gate of Atrahasis assembled the land. The carpenter carrying his hatchet, the reed worker carrying his stone, the shipwright bearing his heavyweight axe. The young men were the old men bearing ropes of palm fibre, the rich men carrying the pitch, the poor man brought the tackle. So this description of palm fibre and pitch is actually what Evan Finkel describes in the video I'm recommending. They made very, very long ropes out of palm fibres and basically made a giant bowl and then covered the bottom of the bowl in pitch to make it waterproof. And it floated. Exactly. By the 5th day I had set her hull in position. 1 acre was her area, 10 rods the height of her sides. At 10 rods also the sides of her roof were each the same length. I set in place her body, I drew up her design. 6 decks I gave her, dividing her thus into 7. Into 9 compartments I divided her interior. I struck the bilge plugs into her middle. I saw to the punting coals and put on the tackle. You read that for a second, let me just check.
All right. 3 myriad measures of pitch I poured into a furnace. 3 myriad of tar I within. 3 myriad of oil fetched the workforce of porters. Aside from the myriad of oil consumed in libations, there were 2 myriad of oil stowed away by the boatmen. For my workmen I butchered oxen, and lambs I slaughtered daily. Beer and ale, oil and wine, like water from a river I gave my workforce. So they enjoyed a feast like the days of New Year. At sunrise I set my hand to the oiling. Before the sun set, the boat was complete. We're very arduous. If you've never been to a book club before with us, there are often little breaks. Sometimes there are big breaks in the text, but anytime that happens, we just pause because the tablet is broken. If you look even on this stream, no, right there. Damn it! How do you do this? Is it that? Yes, right there. There's a broken bit.
So we don't know what it says in the breaks. So rather than make up words, Cyril will just leave a gap because we don't know what it says.
That's right. From back to front, we moved poles for the slipway until 2/3 of the boat had entered the water. Everything I owned I loaded aboard. All the silver I owned, I loaded aboard. All the gold I owned, I loaded aboard. All the living creatures I had, I loaded aboard. I sent on board all my kith and kin, the beasts of the field, the creatures of the wild, and members of every skill and craft. The time which the sun god appointed, in the morning he will send you a shower of bread cakes, and in the evening a torrent of wheat. Go into the boat and seal your hatch. That time had now come. In the morning he will send you a shower of bread cakes, and in the evening a torrent of wheat. I examined the look of the weather. The weather to look at was full of foreboding. I went into the boat and sealed my hatch. To the one who sealed the boat, Puzor-Enlil, the shipwright, I gave my palace with all its goods. Every time we read this, I comment on it, but it's just so funny.
Different.
Hey, Puzor-Enlil, if you seal the hatch of the boat,
flood,
but he doesn't know that.
That's true.
Hey, if you just seal me in, you can have my palace. It's awesome. I feel like we could have a discussion on ethics, but we shouldn't probably. Right. At the very first glimmer of brightening dawn, there rose on the horizon a dark cloud of black, and bellowing within it was Adad, the storm god. The gods Shulat and Chanish were going before him, bearing his throne over mountain and land. The god Erikal was uprooting the mooring poles. Ninurta, passing by, made the weirs overflow. The I'm so tired of pronouncing this thing correct. Anunnaki. Is there a long A?
Mm-hmm.
How do they pronounce it?
Anunnaki.
Okay, so it's Anunnaki. Thank you. You're always right. I should just listen to you. Yeah, no, I lost my place. Sorry. The Anunnaki gods carried torches of fire, scorching the country with brilliant flashes. The stillness of the storm god passed over the sky, and all that was bright then turned into darkness. He charged the land like a bull on the rampage. He smashed it in pieces like a vessel of clay. For a day the gale winds flattened the country. Quickly they blew, and then came the deluge. Like a battle, the cataclysm passed over the people. One man could not discern another, nor could people be recognized amid the destruction. Even the gods took fright at the deluge. They left and went up to the heaven of Anu. Lying like dogs curled up in the open, the goddess cried out like a woman in childbirth. Beilit Ili wailed, whose voice is so sweet. The olden times have turned to clay, because I spoke evil in the gods' assembly. How could I speak evil in the gods' assembly, and declare a war to destroy my people? It is I who give birth. These people are mine. And now, like fish, they fill the ocean. The Anunnaki gods were weeping with her. Wet-faced with sorrow, they were weeping with her. Their lips were parched and stricken with fever. For 6 days and 7 nights there blew the wind, the downpour, the gale, the deluge. It flattened the land. But the 7th day when it came, the gale relented. The deluge ended. The ocean grew calm, that had thrashed like a woman in labor. The tempest grew still. The deluge ended. It laid down an even flood layer so that people thousands of years later could see that the flood layer was there all over the globe. Wait. That's not there.
No.
You're not listening to me?
No.
You're
Sorry,
not.
we've
It's
got
okay.
a question, so I'm trying to research it.
Sorry. I'll pause.
The question can wait till the end.
No, it's...
No, it should wait till the end.
Okay. But I thought my comment was funny.
I liked it.
You didn't even hear
You
it.
said something about people laying down a floodplain all over the earth, and how that didn't actually happen because there was no global flood.
Okay, so you totally were listening. You're like the most awesome woman ever. All right. I looked at the weather. It was quiet and still, but all the people had turned to clay. The floodplain was flat, like the roof of a house. I opened a vent. On my cheeks fell the sunlight. Down sat I. I knelt and I wept. Down my cheeks the tears were coursing. I scanned the horizons, the edge of the ocean. In 14 places there rose an island. On the mountain of Nemush the boat ran aground. Mount Nemush held the boat fast, allowed it no motion. 1 day and a second Mount Nemush held the boat fast, allowed it no motion. A third day and a fourth Mount Nemush held the boat fast, allowed it no motion. A fifth day and a sixth Mount Nemush held the boat fast, allowed it no motion. The seventh day, when it came, I brought out a dove. I let it loose. Off went the dove, but then it returned. There was no place to land, so back it came to me. I brought out a swallow. I let it loose. Off went the swallow, but then it returned. There was no place to land, so it came back to me. Was the question, why are we reading Genesis 6 through 9? Okay, because we're not. This isn't the Bible. Sorry. I brought out the raven. I let it loose. Off went the raven. It saw the waters receding. Finding food, bowing and bobbing, it did not come back to me. I brought out an offering. To the 4 winds made sacrifice. Incense I placed on the peak of the mountain. 7 flasks and 7 I set in place. Reed, cedar, and myrtle I piled beneath them. The gods did smell the savor. The gods did smell the savor sweet. The gods gathered like flies around the man making sacrifice. Then at once Baalit Ili arrived. She lifted the flies of lapis lazuli that Anu had made for her courtship. O gods, let these great beads in this necklace of mine make me remember these days and never forget them. All the gods shall come to the incense, but to the incense let Enlil not come, because he lacked counsel and brought on the deluge and delivered my people into destruction. Then it... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, one of the services that humanity performs for the gods is feeding them with incense or food offerings. And because Enlil was the god who had the idea about the flood, and the goddess here, Baalit Ili, kind of went along with it, but then later changed her mind because she decided she quite liked humanity. She decreed that
Enlil was very too stinky.
Enlil was very too stinky and was not permitted to have any of the incense. So he didn't.
Then at once Enlil arrived.
Damn it, Enlil!
Damn it! He saw the boat. He was seized with anger, filled with rage at the divine Agigi. From where escaped this living being? No man was meant to survive the destruction. Ninurta opened his mouth to speak, saying to the hero Enlil, Who, if not Ea, could cause such a thing? Ea alone knows how all things are done. Sorry. Good grief. Ea opened his mouth to speak, saying to the hero Enlil, You, the sage of the gods, the hero, how could you lack counsel and bring on the deluge? On him who transgresses, inflict his crime. On him who does wrong, inflict his wrongdoing. Slack off, let it snap. Pull tight, let it slacken. Instead of your causing the deluge, a lion could have risen and diminished the people. Instead of your causing the deluge, a wolf could have risen and diminished the people. Instead of causing a deluge, a famine could have happened and slaughtered the land. Instead of your causing a deluge, the plague god could have risen and slaughtered the land. It was not I disclosed the great god's secret. Atrahasis I let see a vision, and thus he learned our secret. And now, decide what to do with him. Enlil came up inside the boat. He took hold of my hand and brought me on board. He brought aboard my wife and made her kneel at my side. He touched our foreheads, standing between us to bless us. In the past, Utanapishti was a mortal man, but now he and his wife shall become like us gods. Utanapishti shall dwell far away where the rivers flow forth. So far away they took me and settled me where the rivers flow forth.
There we go.
Indeed.
So that is, and that's That's the myth of Atrahasis essentially just inserted into the Gilgamesh story.
And it's clear linguistically. Like, I mean, you can see from the text itself, from the style, and there's a recent article. I'm trying to remember when it was written by Jeff Tegay, looking at Gilgamesh and comparing it to some of the. He's looking at the documentary hypothesis. I think a new version of the documentary hypothesis. So, the editing of the Pentateuch and comparing these two using Gilgamesh. He wrote a book on it years ago, looking at Gilgamesh as like a study or case study.
Case study of how you can look at a text and try and work out where the different bits came from, or whether it was composed as one coherent whole.
Word. Did you say we have questions?
Yeah, we had one person asking what the main differences were between the Old Babylonian and the Standard Akkadian versions of Gilgamesh. I think we're reading it. I think Tablet 11 is the main edition.
Oh, yeah, I mean... Yeah, this is the Standard Babylonian. What are the differences? Yeah, I don't remember specifically. Well, I mean, the Standard Babylonian is much better preserved. We have two big tablets from the Old Babylonian period. Mm-hmm. One in pen. I think both in pen. I can't remember. There's the Pennsylvania tablet, and then that's terrible. I should know those both off the top of my head. I apologize, Dr. Del Nero. But yeah, I don't remember all the differences. But if you want to read Andrew George in his 2005 two-volume series on the Epic of Gilgamesh, he has a long introduction. I'm sure there are other works that we could cite. I just can't think of any at the moment. Mm-hmm. But Andrew George is sort of the he's the Enlil of the Gilgamesh epic. Wait, that sounds bad. I apologize, Dr. George. I meant that you're the god, but I didn't want to say. Never mind.
Awesome. But you now, who'll convene for you the gods' assembly, so you can find the life you search for? For 6 days and 7 nights, come, do without slumber. So Utnapishti has recounted the story of how he became immortal, and he's saying basically the only reason I have immortality was because the gods' council was convened and they granted it to me. Who's going to convene it for you? It's not like you survived a flood or anything.
Yeah.
Burn. As soon as Gilgamesh squatted down on his haunches, sleep like a fog already breathed over him. Said Utnapishti to her, to his wife, see the fellow who desired life, sleep like a fog already breathed over him. Said to his wife to him, to Utnapishti the distant, touch the man and make him awake. The way he came he shall go back in well-being. By the gate he came forth he shall return to his land. Said Utnapishti to her, to his wife, man is deceitful, he will deceive you. Go, bake for him his daily bread loaf and line them up by his head, and mark on the wall the days that he sleeps. So Utnapishti's argument here is, if he can't even stay awake for 7 whole days, why on earth does he deserve immortality? And his wife says, look, just wake him up, let him go home. And Utnapishti's saying, nope, we have to prove to him that he can't stay awake for 7 days. So she's baking a loaf of bread for each day that he sleeps. So she baked for him his daily bread loaf. She lined them up by his head, noting on the wall the days that he slept. His first bread loaf was all dried up, the second was leathery, soggy the third. The fourth flour cake had turned to white, the fifth had cast a mould of grey. Fresh baked was the sixth, the seventh still on the coals when he touched him and the man awoke. So we've got a delightful description of 7 loaves of bread. 6 of them are quite stale and mouldy. Said Gilgamesh to him, to Utnapishti the distant, no sooner had sleep spilled over me than forthwith you touched me and made me awake. I just closed my eye for a second and then you woke me up. Definitely haven't been asleep for 7 days. Said Utnapishti to him, to Gilgamesh, come Gilgamesh, count me your bread loaves, then you will learn the days that you slept. Your first bread loaf was all dried up, your second was leathery, soggy the third. The fourth flour cake had turned to white. The fifth had cast a mould of grey. Fresh baked with the sixth, the seventh still on the coals. And only then did I touch you.
And Gilgamesh said, honestly, baby, it's not mine.
Said Gilgamesh to him, to Utnapishti the distant, O Utnapishti, what should I do and where should I go? A thief has taken hold of my flesh. For there in my bedchamber death does abide, and wherever I turn, there too will be death. Said Utnapishti to him, to the boatman Oshanabi, May the key reject you, Oshanabi, and the ferry scorn you. You who used to walk this shore, be banished from it now. As for the man who led here, his body is tousled with matted hair. The pelts have ruined his body's beauty. Take him, Oshanabi, lead him to the washtub, have him wash his matted locks as clean as can be. Let him cast off his pelts, and the sea bear them off. Let his body be soaked till fair. Let a new kerchief be made for his head. Let him wear royal robes, the dress fitting his dignity.
I love how you pronounce things.
Thank you.
Kerchief.
How would you say
it? Kerchief. Kerchief. I probably wouldn't say it. It's such a weird word.
Until he goes home to his city, until he reaches the end of his road, let the robes show no mark, but stay fresh and new. Oshanabi took him and led him to the washtub. For those who are joining us for the first time, Oshanabi is the boatman who ferried Gilgamesh across the Sea of Death.
Wow, we have 57 people watching.
That's amazing.
Whoop, whoop.
Can you hit the like button, please?
Oh, please.
Please, because we have 25 likes. That's really awesome. He washed his matted locks as clean as can be. He cast off his pelts and the sea bore them off. His body was soaked till fair. He made a new kerchief for his head. He wore royal robes, the dress fitting his dignity, until he goes home to his city, until he reaches the end of his road. Let the robes show no mark, but stay fresh and new. Gilgamesh and Urshanabi crewed the boat. They launched the craft and crewed it themselves. Set his wife to him, to Utnapishti the distant. Gilgamesh came here by toil and by travail. What have you given him for his homeward journey? And Gilgamesh, he picked up a punting pole. He brought the boat back near to the shore. Said Utnapishti to him, to Gilgamesh, You came here, O Gilgamesh, by toil and travail. What do I give you for your homeward journey? Let me disclose, O Gilgamesh, a matter most secret, that to you I will tell a mystery of the gods. There is a plant that looks like a boxthorn. It has prickles like a dog rose, and will prick the one who plucks it. But if you can possess this plant, you'll be again as you were in your youth.
Sorry.
No, I mean, that does need a claim like that needs some kind of proof. And actually, that's what Gilgamesh does. He says, he goes and
that's
finds
right.
the
He
plant,
does.
And he says, you know what? I need to verify this.
Citation
before I eat
needed.
it. So he plans on conducting his own study.
I found a button that I can push. See, look, whoa. So I'm 7. I'm going to find every reason to hit that button now. I won't. I'm sorry.
So even though Gilgamesh doesn't have immortality and Utnapishti can't give him immortality, he is telling him where he can find a plant of youth that he can eat and become young again. So it's not quite what he was hoping for, but it's better than nothing. Just as soon as Gilgamesh heard what he said, he opened a channel. Heavy stones he tied to his feet, and they pulled him down to the ocean below. He took the plant and pulled it up and lifted it. The heavy stones he cut loose from his feet, and the sea cast him upon its shore. Said Gilgamesh to him, to Urshanabi the boatman, This plant, Urshanabi, is the plant of heartbeat. With it a man can regain his vigour. To Uruk the sheepfold I will take it. To an ancient I will feed some and put the plant to the test. So Gilgamesh wants some evidence that this is not going to kill him. So he's going to feed it to an elderly person and see if that person goes young again.
Okay, that's it. I'm not allowed to touch it anymore.
Its name shall be Old Man Grown Young, which is descriptive if nothing else. I will eat it myself.
It's like Inana's mascara. Come, man, come.
And be again as I was in my youth. At 20 leagues they broke bread. At 30 leagues they stopped for the night. Gilgamesh found a pool whose water was cool. Down he went into it to bathe in the water. Of the plant's fragrance a snake caught scent, came up in silence and bore the plant off. As it turned away, it sloughed its skin. Sloughed. It shed its skin.
Withdrew. Drew with, if it's in the King James.
Then Gilgamesh sat down and wept. Down his cheeks the tears were coursing. He spoke to Urshanabi the boatman. For whom, Urshanabi, toiled my arms so hard? For whom ran dry the blood in my heart?
For your mama. Oh, wait.
This is deeply touching.
Oh, sorry.
He's just lost his one chance at immortality.
I apologize profusely.
Not for myself did I find a bounty. For the lion of the earth I have done a favour. Now far and wide the tide is rising. Having opened a channel, I abandoned the tools. What thing would I find that served as my landmark? Had I only turned back and left the boat on the shore. So he's found the plant. A snake has stolen the plant, and he's saying, I don't know where, I didn't leave a landmark for where I found this plant, so I can't go back and find any more of it.
And the snake was Satan.
The snake was not Satan.
Oh.
At 20 leagues they broke bread. At 30 leagues they stopped for the night. When they arrived in Uruk the sheepfold, said Gilgamesh to him, to Urshanabi the boatman. And this is really nice because, I might read the opening lines again, but these last couple of lines parallel the opening of the myth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really nice poetic literary device that it frames it perfectly. So you end exactly where you started.
And it creates, from a literary standpoint, I think it's arguable that it creates a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So you end the story and you're beginning the story, and it fits very well with the point of the story, this immortality, because the point is that every time you see this story, every time you open the tablet box, look at the scroll, read it out, what Gilgamesh has done, he lives on. And so it's poetically very beautiful.
It is. O Urshanabi, climb Uruk's walls and walk back and forth. Survey its foundation, examine the brickwork. Were its bricks not fired in an oven? Did the 7 sages not lay its foundations? A square mile is city, a square mile date grove, a square mile is clay pit, half a square mile the temple of Ishtar, 3 square miles and a half is Uruk's expanse. And the opening, if I can find it very quickly. Climb, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 5th stanza. Climb Uruk's walls and walk back and forth. Survey its foundations, examine the brickwork. Were its bricks not fired in an oven? Did the 7 sages not lay its foundations? And I have to say, if you haven't read it, the opening of this epic is absolutely beautiful. It tells about, it's an invitation to the reader to, like we've heard, climb the walls of Uruk, admire the city, but then open up the tablet box and take out the tablet and read the story that we just read you.
What's it made of?
Lapis lazuli.
Lazuli. I just like hearing you say it. Lazuli.
We do have foundation tablets made of lapis lazuli, which is really cool.
What are they made of?
Lapis lazuli.
I think we ought to have Megan read all the super chats in like a seductive voice.
No.
Hey, you know what? You volunteer me for an awful lot of shit here.
It's because you're great at funny voices. I just have, the only voice I can do is the one I am currently using.
Josh is going to wear a dress when we hit 1,000 subscribers. There you go.
I mean, you'd have looked beautiful.
Well,
I think your Anunnaki costume was... Anunnaki costume was beautiful.
I think that we should put it up to a vote.
I don't think we should ask anyone anything. Ever.
Should the super chats be read in a sexy British voice?
No.
By Megan, not by me.
So if you have any questions about Gilgamesh or about digital Hammurabi in general, please put them in the chat. I haven't been following it today. So if I've missed something, please put it in now and tag me in the question so that I actually notice it and I can read it. This has been awesome. Thank you. I'm sorry it's taken us so long to get through. But it's a fantastic story, and it's actually really the book we've been reading from is the Penguin edition, which is highly recommended. I think it's only like $20 on Amazon. It's done by Andrew George, who is like the world-renowned expert on the Epic of Gilgamesh, and he includes an awful lot of interesting information in the introduction, and he includes also the different tablet versions that we have, so you can kind of, if you feel so inclined, go through it and see where the different parts of the story come from, and how we can take fragments of the same story found in different places and kind of piece it all together to make as complete a text as we can. Mm-hmm. It's a bit like being a detective.
Oh, bit.
Mm-hmm. Hooray.
Should we read something else?
No. You should definitely not read the comments. They all want you to keep reading them.
Oh. Okay.
Everyone wants you. What we should do, I'm not sure. A super chat. Vibrant Brownlee, how close? I can't. I hope you all realise how much I love you, because
they're about to.
I see. I'm going to start laughing. How close are we to being able to afford 2 students' summer scholarships?
Damn.
Vibrant Brownlee, $5.
That's amazing.
CB Cisco, $6.66.
Was there?
No, that was it.
No, it says.
Oh, there's a message. Thanks for everything.
Wait. You have to do it all now again.
Screw you.
Oh, no, another one.
Michael Apple, $5. Yeah, need cash to make more archaeologists.
Okay, so we're definitely there are definitely more super chats when you read in your seductive voice.
Michael W. Roble, with thousands of tablets found, why are there still holes in this important story? Because a lot of the tablets we found are administrative documents. Many of them are receipts that say things like 2 sheep, 1 goat received by insert name here. But
actually, I mean, thinking about this particular story, the epic is very well preserved, given.
Yes.
If you look at. Let me just show you.
Yeah, this is one of the more complete texts we have. So it's entirely possible that in the basement, say, of the British Museum, there are little bits that would fill in the gaps we have. There aren't enough Assyriologists. There isn't enough money to pay them to translate everything that has been discovered yet. So that's one problem. Another problem is just that it's a complete accident of excavation. Like, what we discover is really just up to sheer chance. It depends what's there, what was preserved. If, for example, school students only copied the first 1 tablet of Gilgamesh, we'll have like 8 copies of tablet 1 and maybe only 2 of tablet 11. Those numbers are completely arbitrary. I'm not saying that that's actually what happened. It's just an example of how we're really at the mercy of chance and of people's practices in history to determine what we have to translate.
Have we read... Sorry, I'm trying to find a good example here. Have we read Inana and Shukaletuda?
No, I didn't think so.
We definitely should.
Awesome. David Friskin says, I have to go, but I'm not sure if you've...
Oh, sorry, I thought it was a super chat.
It's not a super chat. I'm not sure if you've mentioned the great material on YouTube containing Irvin Finkel and the Epic of Gilgamesh lecture by Andrew George. Maybe of interest. Yes, there's... So there is... Like I said, there's an Irvin Finkel lecture about building the Ark, the Mesopotamian Ark, and there is a fantastic Gilgamesh lecture. I'm going to try and find links to both of those and put them in the description of the video so you guys can take a look at it.
This is a good one to look at. So, whoa, getting seasick. See all those dots? Those are all breaks. So if you were to try to read that, it's like, that's very frustrating. And look how short it is. So,
so we're doing really well to have that much of Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have so much of it tells you how popular it was in ancient times. So
you may not like what I'm getting ready to say. Sorry. Last night we were on Surah's channel, and if you haven't watched Surah's the Skeptic, please go subscribe. He's awesome. Also, just as another side note, Skylar had 4,000 subscribers yesterday. So if you haven't subscribed to Skylar, please go over there and subscribe to his channel.
Actually, someone just mentioned the debate he's having tonight.
Yeah, with, don't tell me, Vocab the Monster or something. Vocab Malone, I think is his name.
I think you're right. Yep, Vocab Malone.
I don't know who that is, but he sounds quite fetching.
Rayano Gray, $2. lesser known stories are known from that culture. Oh, we have loads. We have so much literature from Mesopotamia, like from the whole time period that is covered by Mesopotamian history. So like loads of them. And actually, if you go to, let me put a link in the chat.
And we are going to read one of them.
And we're going to read one of them. This is a fantastic collection of literature it's in Sumerian, so it doesn't contain any of the Akkadian material. But, I mean, that's just a portion of what we have.
They're English translations of these.
Yes, they are.
Sorry, they probably understood that.
And James Crow is saying, do you guys have a percentage of people that would have been literate in Mesopotamia?
7.
No, and it would have varied from time and place, because Mesopotamia is like 4,000 years and stretches from like Syria, Turkey, all the way down to Iran.
And it's debated.
It is also debated. But, and I bring this out every single time we talk about literacy rates because it's amazing, in the Old Assyrian period, and I always forget the dates, like 1500?
Old Assyrian? No, it's like 2000.
2000, there we go. There are a collection of personal letters from archives of merchants that show non-scribal people's, like, these aren't people who have gone to scribal school, they're people who
They're
are...
NSPs.
Exactly, non-scribal people. They're people who've just developed functional literacy, so they can write to their families, they can write to their business partners, and they use a truncated cuneiform sign syllabary. Syllabary? Is that what I'm working for? A short collection of cuneiform signs rather than the complete several hundred collection that scribal students would have been familiar with.
Yeah, I want to see it's 80 signs.
I'm not sure it's even that much.
Yeah. I'm not sure either.
Like 50, I think 50 or something.
Like 12.
No, maybe not 12.
2. You have to learn 2, and then that's it. But we went on Cyrus the Skeptic's channel last night, and I highly recommend that you go over there and take a look at it. It was a lot of fun. We said the word penis, as we always do, so I don't think that's surprising at all.
You continue and then I'll...
I don't see anything over there except I saw Jill.
Yes, so Iron Charity says, DH, remember to collect your $200 from Jill for debunking Tyre.
I think he still owes Skylar $100 for child slavery, maybe.
I mean, if he wants to send us $200, it will go straight to our scholarship program.
Yeah,
we won't take a cent. And sorry, Brant just commented, and I realised we read his super chat, and then I was so embarrassed that I didn't actually answer his question. So if you're new here, hi. Our Patreon is set up to fund scholarships, summer scholarships for PhD students. PhDs are generally not funded. Humanities PhDs are generally not funded over the summer. And if you are a student writing your dissertation, often you have to go on archaeological excavations or travel to different places to look at tablet collections or museum collections of some kind to do original research. So what we did is we set up our Patreon to try and help out some students. And, we set this up in May, maybe in May. And we thought if we can get $2,000 together, that will be enough to fund a student for one full summer. And the people who donate to the fund can help us pick the student that they feel they want to fund. So we are almost at $3,000 now. So we funded one student completely, and I was looking at the finances early last week, and by the time we'll need to actually hand over the money, we will only be a few $100s off being able to fund 2 students. So we're going to do a video about this on Monday, but basically what we're doing, Josh and I are going to take a leap of faith, advertise to fund 2 students, and run a fundraising campaign starting like next week or the week after to try and make up the shortfall. If we don't make it up, then we will fund the difference ourselves. But we'd like some help.
Yeah, and we said, in the beginning when we realized that Patreon takes whatever small percentage of each donation, that if somebody gives $100, like, I don't know, $7 or something goes to, I don't know how much it is, goes to Patreon for that. And because we wanted people to have 100% of their donation go directly to the student, we decided that we were going to chip in whatever it is the Patreon takes, we will contribute.
Yep.
to that fund to make it so 100% of what you give goes directly to the student. Where are we at? How much do we?
About $137.
Yeah. So.
Which we're very happy to pay.
Very happy.
And right, so one of the things we're going to do for this fundraising drive, and I'm not sure if we're doing it solely through Patreon or if we'll accept individual PayPal donations. I need to look at the logistics of that. But we want to offer my Ashurbanipal Lion Hunt illustration, and I actually might have it on the desktop if I can find it. Lion hunting illustration as a maybe a canvas or a print of some kind. I think I may have. There we go. Let me just get it up here so you guys can see it.
I'll do a dance.
You could do a dance. You do the best dances. Oh, my computer is freezing.
How have you stayed with me this long? Huh?
I count myself very lucky to have you, honey.
Oh.
Okay, so it is this inscription, and I think we'll probably offer it black on white and white on black, because then people can choose which they prefer, because I know that I have a tendency to do black illustrations on white, and I've had several people request the reverse, so we'll have that. So we have another super chat.
Wow.
Tim Smith, $10. If it's only $5 to meet our goal, then here is a few more. I love Josh and my children. I do love Josh and my children. Thank you. And thank you very much for that, Tim. We really appreciate that. So, yes, that is the plan.
I feel like they're really getting their money's worth now. I think they were having to endure. It's like they were giving the super chat knowing that they were going to have to endure me saying it in that hillbilly voice. But sorry, is that offensive?
No, Iron Charity is saying, Josh, do the G-Man chant.
Oh. Atheist. It was really good. I saw that the first time, and I went into the description of the video looking for, like, this is a parody on such and such. No.
Oh, Zoopator the True Zoo said, that looks like my t-shirt. So I'm assuming you've bought our t-shirt with Ashurbanipal. Thank you. Yeah, if you do want that illustration on a t-shirt, we have it. Let me put the link in. We have it in black and we have it in white, depending on what you feel like.
And didn't you do one recently that has the translation?
Yeah, so the black and white one, let me just put that back up. The black and white one has, or the white on black one, has the translation on the back.
Oh, snap.
The illustration is on the front and then the translation is on the back. And I am putting the link in the description now. And then we also have that same picture, but black on white. Without the translation, I think I should probably put the translation on there. But, dun dun dun. And we have another super chat. You guys are on fire today. Michael Apple, $5. Fine. It was a good week at work. Go on. Make more archaeologists. Won't bother me any. I'm not sure if we're supposed to have sex and produce more archaeologists or just
I think we're just
train
supposed
them.
to have sex. Let's have sex. That's what I heard.
CD Horde said archaeologists do it in the dirt.
Yeah, they do.
They do. I think Assyriologists do it awkwardly.
Let us demonstrate.
We're not archaeologists, so.
But you said Assyriologist.
No. Moving on.
Oh, look, I got her to do the seductive voice, guys. I don't, one step at a time.
Papa Chubb says, I'm guessing we know a lot more about Akkadian than Sumerian.
It depends on what you mean, I guess. Sorry. I tend to rip at my fingernails. Yeah, I guess it depends in what way. I mean, we have... Akkadian texts tend to obviously be later, and so But I don't know that I've actually looked at the numbers of Akkadian versus Sumerian texts. We have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of Sumerian administrative texts, but we know a lot about both, frankly.
And we've got a good grammatical understanding of both. I think Akkadian grammar is... He's smiling at me because there's another...
CB Cisco, $6.66. Hail Ashurbanipal. Hail Ashurbanipal indeed.
I just want you to keep talking.
I'm not going to keep talking.
I know, but it's so amazing.
And James Crow said awkward lovemaking is done in chicken costumes. That's at least awkward. I think difficult, like, yeah, logistically, I'm not sure. Well, let's not go into that. So he means in terms of how much we know of the language and what makes it up because of the time period in relation to modern Semitic languages.
Oh, yeah, no question. Yeah, I mean...
Although having said that scholars do have a pretty decent understanding of Sumerian. But
I mean,
there's room for improvement.
There's this really amazing scholar that's writing a grammar of Sumerian right now, and it's in the stages of editing. And it's written for the layperson, you see, and it's modeled after the video series that he has on his YouTube channel. He or she.
It's you.
Okay.
We have another super chat.
RWM, $10. General contribution to DH. I am concerned, though, that if you do not monetize your site, you will not be able to continue for long.
So we actually don't do this for the money. We don't need the money. We live... Well, I mean, we're not like starving or anything. This is a fun
if we don't monetize
outlet.
the site?
Like if we don't take the Patreon earnings for ourselves.
Oh, well, I mean, so the super chats and the like ad revenue.
Yeah, ad revenue and super chats we take.
We use that to buy like a new
Computer
microphone,
equipment, books.
Or we are trying to save up for some animation software, which is fairly pricey, but nonetheless.
But no, this isn't a full-time job for either of us, and probably won't be. I'm still finishing my PhD. Josh works full-time. This is something that we do for our own pleasure and because we're passionate about our field, and it's quite difficult to find good, solid introductory information about this really anywhere. So we're just trying to fill a need and help people learn about the thing that we love. Maybe in the future, if it gets bigger, because we're still very small. We're only just over 4,000 subscribers, which is like 3 times as many as I thought we would have.
It's almost 4,000 times as many as I thought we'd have.
But we're still small. This is still quite manageable. And we do have another super chat.
Omagaya 1, $10 Canadian. I'm still hoping for a Hail Inanna sort of t-shirt.
I will make a note of that. Bear with me. I'll try and get that done.
I just think
in the next couple of days.
I am absolutely brilliant for the whole seductive Megan voice idea. It's possible that I brought this up after I started hurting everyone's ears with the what do I call that voice? I don't know, very annoying Diamond Dave voice. That's what I'm going to call it. And she said, "No, I know," and so but I knew you wanted to. But
then you said it on air. And
I knew that you really deep down wanted
to. CD Hoarder saying, "How about Oliver's college fund?" We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah. We have 3 children. College will be interesting.
It will.
I'm tempted just to move them all to the UK for as long as it takes to get reduced college rates. Or we could just teach them ourselves, like homeschool college.
And Tara
Let's not do that.
Tara said that she'd be very happy.
That's true. If anyone knows of a man in the United Kingdom who would feel like marrying Josh's ex-wife so she can move with us.
Who is actually an amazing human being.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Cool.
Yeah.
Also, then you get to hang out with us.
So I wanted to, if I could,
Yes.
unless there are more things coming in that you need to read.
Nope, we're good.
So to sort of shift it a little bit, not really serious, but a little Surus. That was really bad. So Surus the Skeptic, we were on his channel last night, and we were reading these, I don't want to call them articles because it seems like it
Called
gives
them a word jumble.
word jumble. Yeah. The jumble. By an individual who reads the biblical text in such a way that if he's doing what he's actually saying that he's doing, it's abuse, right? I mean, there's just I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh no.
What?
David, Zoopater the True Zoo wants me to read in an American accent.
Do you have one?
I don't have one. I have this one. Like...
Do you want to try it?
No. No. I have to,
Do it for Pond.
but I don't want to. Oh God. Oh God. I'm scrolling down in the hope that he says I'm only joking. He's not going to say that.
I don't think.
Why don't you read and I'll try and psych myself up and maybe
Okay,
take
all
a
right.
shot of vodka or something.
She's gonna do it. I'm quite. She's. If you guys
I don't-
only knew.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. If there's something else that you would accept that I could humiliate myself in order for her not to do
No,
that,
sweetheart, no, I need to do it. I just
totally fine. I will do some humiliating thing
don't know.
if it will get her out of doing
I
that.
don't know how.
He said, "I'm sorry." Anyway, so we were on Cyrus's channel, and we're reading this thing, and basically what he was saying is, Christian wives. What was one of the titles? Why a Christian wife should have sex even
Should
if it
endure
hurts.
painful sex with her husband.
Should endure painful sex with her husband.
And how a Christian husband can enjoy painful sex, or can enjoy sex that is painful for his wife.
Yeah, I mean it's, men and women. Women need to hand over passwords to their cell phones and to their, social media accounts, so that the husband can check up on her. But the husband is definitely under no obligation to do that to the wife. And it's just a lot of really disgusting things as far as I'm concerned. Anyhow, what was being described was, in my opinion, rape. And it, as we were talking, it reminded me of the story of Inana and Shukaletuda. Boy, that was a really morbid connection. I'm sorry about that now that I've done it. But I was thinking of a text that we could read that would be kind of cool. Cool might not be the right word, but now that, given what I've just said. Anyhow, how are you doing psyching your stuff up? If I got you Make America Great Again hat, would it help?
No.
Oh, okay. America.
Your dad would be thrilled, though.
Indeed. I was just thinking it would make it more American feeling.
I'm just going to have to do it, aren't I? I'm not going to look at you because it's going to be horrible and I'm going to be deeply, deeply embarrassed.
You're so cute.
Zoopater the True Zoo, $5. American accent. Josh, I want some pizza and beer. Can we go to the bowling alley tonight?
That was the greatest thing that I've ever heard.
You're a very nice man.
That was like, you were an amazing human being. Excellent job. I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
Where did that come from? That was amazing.
I said it in my head eight or nine times. So before we move ahead, CD Horde said, would you guys consider doing biblical archaeology critical analysis series? Interesting.
Yeah.
I had a boss who subscribed to a journal like this and it was a hoot.
So let me give you my background in archaeology and then Megan give you hers and then we'll answer. I took 3.5 years of archaeology during my PhD. under Professor Glenn Schwartz, who is a giant in the field. What?
Sorry, oh my god, I once said I have the best words and the best accent ever. Everyone is being very kind at my appalling American accent.
No,
Thank you very much.
it really was good. It really was good.
It was very southern because I can't, I have trouble now distinguishing a Northern American accent in my head to how I talk.
I mean, I could do
That's his Liverpudlian accent.
Liverpudlian.
Yep.
I still don't understand what Brummie is. I can't distinguish it. Maybe you should speak in Brummie.
I can't speak in Brummie.
Thank God.
That would not, no.
What was I talking about? Oh, so he also very graciously allowed me to come with him to dig in Syria in 2010 at the site of Amara, which is a fascinating site. But I was put in charge of a team of local Syrian excavators from the site of Amara, the village of Amara. And so I what would you say? Directed is the wrong word. Supervised my team of excavators. You have another super chat. This is the greatest day ever. So I have a fair amount, relatively speaking.
What was Enki do 5? He said I don't even need to say anything.
Oh,
just keep the money for whatever we need. Thank you.
But you should probably say that in your sexy voice. For everyone's benefit, including my own. Game on then. Pip pip.
No. You're not allowed to do that. I have made Josh sad.
Okay.
You were speaking.
Right.
About archaeology.
And so I feel like I have relatively speaking, a decent amount of archaeological experience. I don't think that I would feel comfortable doing systematic archaeological critique. Maybe I would. Maybe I just have to read some of it in a little more detail. That being said, we know a lot of archaeologists.
We can find someone to do it.
Heck yes, we can. We do whatever we feel like we want to do. Gosh.
People are asking, well, Watching Rainbow is asking what province you were in Syria.
Umamara is about an hour and a half east of Aleppo.
Is that the right spelling?
L-M-A-R-R-A. Yep.
There we go.
Amazing people in the village there. Abu Hassan was he was the guy that was in charge of my dictation. I've got a picture of it somewhere. But it was, well, I won't tell the whole story, but a lot of funny stories from that excavation. But one of them is mathematical. Professor Schwartz would be very happy that I told that story. Anyhow, toward the end, I wanted to give them something because they were just such a great group of people, and I wanted to give them money, but that would have been very bad logistically. So I had every day they would say, "Fisora, fisora, fisora." Is there a picture? Can we take a picture? Can we take a picture? They always wanted to take a picture. And so I ended up taking a picture of all of us together. And then we went into Aleppo once a week. And we went in, and I had the picture printed and framed really nicely. And I gave it to Abu Hassan, and he was over the moon. And it was just a really, really great feeling. Anyway.
So one more comment and then we should get to Inana and Shukaletuda. Yes. Papa Chubb, have you seen Mike Winger trying to explain away Daniel?
I've heard about it. This isn't... In my experience, there's a general set of... I don't want to call them evangelical arguments. I don't know what I want to call them, but arguments from...
Biblical literist? Literalist.
From people that subscribe to that. I don't know what to say. But there's, for example, with Ezekiel, there's sort of a standard Ezekiel 26 argument, right? The many nations is referring to both Nebuchadnezzar and to Alexander, and perhaps even later nations that would come up against Tyre, and that the switch from the singular to the plural in verse 12 is evidence of that. Those are sort of standard. They're very Gleason archery, I would say. Gleason archery defenses or explanations. I think they're completely unnecessary in order to hold to a Christian position. Nonetheless, this sort of thing happens with the book of Daniel as well. So I have not, to answer the question, I have not heard his defense,
Not
though
in particular, but have heard similar.
Though I suspect that it's similar to what I suspect it's very Gleason archery, which I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. I don't.
It's taking the evidence and trying to stretch it to fit the conclusion you want to come to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it. Gleason archer, speaking specifically of Gleason archer here, it doesn't really engage with the evidence in a serious way. And that sounds really bad.
That's fine. Iron Charioteer says you have to do Trump and the G-Man chant.
I don't know if I know how to do President Trump. I don't know that I've watched him enough to be able to do it.
Don't worry. You can just do the G-Man chant.
I can do that.
G-Man chant again if you want.
Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I hope everybody does. I don't want to link it or anything, but like he does this rap, and it's called Atheists Owned. And atheist owned.
Our 5-year-old thinks it's hilarious.
Yes.
Which tells you everything you need to know.
Oh, gosh.
Inana and Shukaletuda.
Okay, so, right. Inana and Shukaletuda. And this is a story that has a surprise ending. It was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Okay. The mistress who... this is a Sumerian text, by the way. Obviously, it's Inanna. The mistress who, having all the great divine powers, deserves the throne dais. Inanna who, having all the great divine powers, occupies a holy throne dais. Inanna who stands in Eanna as a source of wonder. Once, the young woman went up into the mountains. Holy Inanna went up into the mountains to detect falsehood and justice, to inspect the land closely, to identify the criminal against the just. She went up into the mountains. Now what did one say to another? What further did one add to the other in detail? My lady stands among the wild bulls at the foot of the mountains. She possesses fully the divine powers. Inanna stands among the stags in the mountain tops. She possesses fully the divine powers. Now what did one say to another? What further did one add to the other in detail? Or detail?
So we have a super chat in Dutch.
Oh.
Thank you. I apologize in advance for butchering your language. I've never ever spoken Dutch before, so this is going to be really weird.
But it's going to be sexy.
It's going to be something.
Victor de Jong, €10. Dutch. Iedereen had erg bedankt voor jullie bijdrages. We gaan deze I have no idea what that is. Kooluwele helemaal uitmelken.
I am really sorry. I don't know what I just said. I'm sure I didn't say it correctly. But thank you very much for the super chat. We really appreciate your support.
I worry, actually, about what you just said. I hope we get a translation. That would be good.
Yes, that would be nice.
I only studied Dutch for 3 years, so it was just 2. That was lame. Okay. Then the left heaven, left the earth, and climbed up into the mountains. Inanna left heaven, left the earth, and climbed up into the mountains. She left Eanna in Uruk, and climbed up into the mountains. She left the Giguna in Zabala and climbed up into the mountains. As she had gone up from Eana, Gipar, Inana, her cloak, and climbed up into the mountains. Now what did one say to another? What further did one add to the other in detail? Several lines missing. After had tired, with questions and searching, may come alone to the back room of my shrine. What did one say to another? What further did one add to the other in detail? 2 lines missing. He will, its feet, he, Enki says. Full of wisdom, he adds to the following words. The story starts in a little bit of a strange way, right? Inanna's getting ready to go around and inspect, and then there's this weird story about the raven. But then it gets to the part that is relevant.
We have another super chat. We also have a translation of the Dutch that I just butchered. Thank you very much for your contributions. We are going to milk this cow animal completely.
Awesome.
So we're milking my accent, I believe.
I think it's fantastic. You guys are amazing.
DB Cisco, $6.66. Abrahamists don't know their Asherah from a pole in the ground. Winky face.
Oh, Lord. That was good. That was amazing. And I'm going to be using it all the time now, if that's okay.
Okay, so the translation we had previously was Google Translate. Victor de Jong has just provided his own translation. Everybody thanks you for your contributions. Oh, no, everybody thanks for your contributions. We will milk this cow's udder all the way. That makes sense more than
cow animal.
Although I'm quite fond of cow animal. So maybe we'll just share that.
All right. Full of wisdom, he adds the following words. Raven, I shall give you instructions. Pay attention to my instructions. Raven, in the shrine I shall give you instructions. Pay attention to my instructions. First, chop up and chew the coal for the incantation priests of Eridu, with the oil and water which are to be found in a lapis lazuli bowl, and are placed in the back room of the shrine. Then plant them in a trench for leeks in a vegetable plot. Then you should pull out. Now what did one say to another? What further did one add to another in detail? The raven paid exact attention to the instructions of his master. It chopped up and chewed the coal for the incantation priests of Eridu, with the oil and water which were to be found in the lapis lazuli bowl. So I'm starting to understand. I don't remember how I'm supposed to pronounce words, and so I start to focus on them.
It's really difficult.
Is it detail or detail? Is it lazuli or lazuli? And then I mess up the next word. And were placed in the back room of the shrine. It planted them in a trench for leeks in a vegetable plot. Then it pulled out a plant growing in a plot like leeks, an oddity standing up like a leek stalk. Who had ever seen such a thing before? That a bird like the raven, performing the work of a man, should make the counterweight blocks of the shaduf bump. It's a type of irrigation device. Bump and settle down. That it should make the counterweight blocks of the shaduf bump down and rise up. Who had ever seen such a thing before? Then the raven rose up from this oddity and climbed up it, a date palm, with a harness. It rubbed off the coal, which it had stuffed into its beak onto the pistils, just as with a date palm, which the ground, a tree growing forever. Who had ever seen such a thing before? Its scaly leaves surround its palm heart. Its dried palm fronds serve as weaving material. Its shoots are like surveyor's gleaming line. They are fit for the king's fields. Its branches are used in the king's palace for cleaning. Its dates, which are piled up near purified barley, are fit for the temples of the gods. I promise we're getting there. That a bird like the raven, performing the work of man, makes the counterweight blocks of the shaduf bump up and settle down. That it makes the counterweight blocks of the shaduf bump down and rise up. Who had ever seen such a thing before? At his master's command, the raven stepped into the Abzu. Now what did one say to another? What further did one add to the other in detail? Shukaletuda was his name, a son of Igi Sigsig, was to water garden plots and build the installation for a well among the plants. So that's how that little backstory shows why he's sort of the context for him coming into the story. But not a single plant remained there, not even one. He had pulled them out by their roots and destroyed them. Then what did the storm wind bring? It blew the dust of the mountains into his eyes. When he tried to wipe the corner of his eyes with his hand, he got some of it out, but was not able to get all of it out. He raised his eyes to the lower land and saw the exalted gods of the land where the sun rises. He raised his eyes to the highlands and saw the exalted gods of the land where the sun sets. He saw a solitary ghost. He recognized a solitary god by her appearance. He saw someone who fully possesses the divine powers. He was looking at someone whose destiny was decided by the gods. It was Inanna. In that plot, he had not approached it 5 or 10 times before, or had he not approached it 5 or 10 times before, there stood a single shady tree at that place. The shady tree was a Euphrates poplar, with broad shade. Its shade was not diminished in the morning, and it did not change either at midday or in the evening. All right, here we go. Once, after my lady had gone around the heavens, after she had gone around the earth, after Inanna had gone around the heavens, after she had gone around the earth, after she had gone around Elam and Subir, after she had gone around the intertwined horizon of heaven, the mistress became so tired that when she arrived there, she lay down by its roots. If you've been asleep, it's time to wake up. Shukaletuda noticed her from beside his plot. Inanna, the loincloth of the 7 divine powers over her genitals. The girdle of the 7 divine powers over her genitals. With the shepherd Ama-Ushumgal Anna over her holy genitals, Shukaletuda undid the loincloth of 7 divine powers and got her to lie down in her resting place. He had intercourse with her and kissed her there. After he had had intercourse with her and kissed her, he went back to beside his plot. When day had broken and Utu had risen, Utu's the sun god, the woman inspected herself closely. Holy Inanna inspected herself closely. So, Shukaletuda raped Inanna, and she woke up and started looking at herself. Then the woman was considering what should be destroyed because of her genitals. Inanna was considering what should be done because of her genitals. She filled the wells of the land with blood. So it was blood that the irrigated orchards of the land yielded. It was blood that the slave who went to collect firewood drank. It was blood that the slave girl who went out to draw water drew. It was blood that the black-headed people drank. No one knew when this would end. She said, "I will search everywhere for the man who had intercourse with me." But nowhere in all the lands could she find the man who had had intercourse with her. Now what did one say to another? What further did one add to the other in detail?
I'm going to take a brief break because we have another super chat.
Rayano Gray, $2. How many languages do you know between the two of you?
7. That's my stock answer.
Akkadian, Sumerian, Hebrew. Are we counting Aramaic and Greek?
Are you doing me?
Between the two of us.
Well, you... Akkadian, Sumerian...
I'm done. Akkadian, Sumerian, and Hebrew are the...
Oh, okay.
There I end.
Well, you know German and French.
I can read them with the aid of a good dictionary.
So Aramaic... Excuse me. Did we say Greek?
I was asking if we should include Greek.
Oh, I guess.
So 5... 5 ancient...
Oh, you're asking if Greek is ancient?
No, I'm asking if you think you know it well enough to count it.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, sorry. Koine Greek. Koine Greek.
Know. And then we can both read some French and German. Josh can speak some German and some Arabic.
It would be tough now.
It would be
it's been
tough
a while.
Now. There we go. Oh, and Vibrantly Brantley says that don't forget Megan knows British
Yes.
and British English.
Man, I was going to say hit that like button, but 59 of the 68 people
Yeah.
watching, or I guess I don't know that to be true. Sorry. Anyway, thank you. Okay. The boy went home to his... do you want to read?
Sure.
Okay. I was reading so you could man the live chat.
The boy went home to his father and spoke to him.
I'll man it.
Shukaletuda went home to his father and spoke to him. My father, I was to water garden plots and build the installation for a well among the plants, but not a single plant remained there, not even one. I had pulled them out by their roots and destroyed them. Then what did the storm wind bring? It blew dust of the mountains into my eyes. When I tried to wipe the corner of my eyes with my hand, I got some of it out, but was not able to get all of it out. I raised my eyes to the lower land and saw the high gods of the land where the sun rises. I raised my eyes to the highlands and saw the exalted gods of the land where the sun sets. I saw a solitary ghost. I recognized a solitary god by her appearance. I saw someone who possesses fully the divine powers. I was looking at someone whose destiny was decided by the gods. In that plot, had I not approached it 5 or 10 times before, there stood a single shady tree at that place. That shady tree was a Euphrates poplar with a broad shade. Its shade was not diminished in the morning, and it did not change either at midday or in the evening. Once, after my lady had gone around the heavens, after she had gone around the earth, after Inana had gone around the heavens, after she had gone around the earth, after she had gone around Elam and Subir, after she had gone around the intertwined horizon of heaven, the mistress became so tired that when she arrived there she lay down by its roots. I noticed her from beside my plot. I had intercourse with her and kissed her there. Then I went back to beside my plot. Then the woman was considering what should be destroyed because of her genitals.
Well, if we ask James Crow, it should be the like button, because he says, smash that like button like an ancient Sumerian goddess.
Yep. She does a lot of smashing and destroying. She filled the wells of the land with blood, so that it was blood that the irrigated orchards of the land yielded. It was blood that the slave who went to collect firewood drank. It was blood that the slave girl who went out to draw water drew, and it was blood that the black-headed people drank. No one knew when it would end. She said, I will search everywhere for the man who had intercourse with me, but nowhere could she find the man who had intercourse with her. His father replied to the boy. His father replied to Shukaletuda, My son, you should join the city dwellers, your brothers. Go at once to the black-headed people, your brothers. Then this woman will not find you among the mountains. He joined the city dwellers, his brothers, all together. He went at once to the black-headed people, his brothers, and the woman did not find him among the mountains. Then the woman was considering a second time what should be destroyed because of her genitals. Inanna was considering what should be done because of her genitals. She mounted on a cloud, took her seat there, and... The south wind and a fearsome storm flood went before her. The pili-pili and a dust storm followed her. Abba Shushu, Inimkur-Dudug, advisor, 7 times 7 helpers stood beside her in the high desert. She said, I will search everywhere for the man who had intercourse with me. But nowhere could she find the man who had intercourse with her. The boy went home to his father and spoke to him. Shukaletuda went home to his father and spoke to him. My father, the woman of whom I spoke to you, this woman was considering a second time what should be destroyed because of her genitals. Inanna was considering what should be done because of her genitals. She mounted on a cloud, took her seat there, and... The south wind and a fearsome storm flood went before her. The pili-pili and a dust storm followed her. Abba Shushu, Inimkur-Dudug, advisor, 7 times 7 helpers stood beside her in the high desert. She said, I will search everywhere for the man who had intercourse with me, but nowhere could she find the man who had intercourse with her. His father replied to the boy, his father replied to Shukaletuda, My son, you should join the city dwellers, your brothers. Go at once to the black-headed people, your brothers. Then this woman will not find you among the mountains. He joined the city dwellers, his brothers, all together. He went at once to the black-headed people, his brothers, and the woman did not find him among the mountains. Then the woman was considering a third time what should be destroyed because of her genitals. Inanna was considering what should be done because of her genitals. She took a single in her hand. She blocked the highways of the land with it. Because of her, the black-headed people, she said, I will search everywhere for the man who had intercourse with me, but nowhere could she find the man who had intercourse with her. The boy went home to his father and spoke to him. Shukaletuda went home to his father and spoke to him. My father, the woman of whom I spoke to you, this woman was considering a third time what should be done because of her genitals. Inanna was considering what should be done because of her genitals. She took a single in her hand. She blocked the highways of the land with it. Because of her, the black-headed people, she said, I will search everywhere for the man who had intercourse with me, but nowhere could she find the man who had intercourse with her. His father replied to the boy. His father replied to Shukaletuda, My son, you should join the city dwellers, your brothers. Go at once to the black-headed people, your brothers. Then this woman will not find you among the mountains. He joined the city dwellers, his brothers, all together. He went at once to the black-headed people, his brothers, and the woman did not find him among the mountains. We're nearly done. When day had broken and Utu had risen, the woman inspected herself closely. Holy Inanna inspected herself closely. Ah, who will compensate me? Who will pay for what happened to me? Should it not be the concern of my own father, Enki? Holy Inanna directed her steps to the Abzu of Eridu, and, because of this, prostrated herself on the ground before him and stretched out her hands to him. Father Enki, I should be compensated. What's more, someone should pay for what happened to me. I shall only re-enter my shrine Ayana satisfied after you have handed over that man to me from the Abzu. Enki said, All right to her. He said, So be it to her. With that, Holy Inanna went out from the Abzu of Eridu. She stretched herself like a rainbow across the sky and reached thereby as far from the earth. She let the south wind pass across. She let the north wind pass across. From fear, Shukaletuda tried to make himself as tiny as possible, but the woman found him among the mountains. Holy Inanna spoke to Shukaletuda. What she says is very fragmentary, but it includes the words dog, ass, and pig. So she's probably not praising him.
I'm going to trade
we
you.
have another super chat.
I think there are a couple of questions up there.
Okay.
I can't see them terribly well.
Super chat.
Michael Williams, $5. Thank you for your non-sensationalistic history and language teaching.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yes.
This is really awesome.
It is. Watching Rome Burn says the place where you were working in Syria is where the SAA is currently staging their artillery equipment.
Oh, wow.
Getting ready to fight Turkey and the USA in Manbij. Wow, didn't know that. Zupe to the True Zoo. Who did the Canaanites more harm, the Israelites or the Romans?
I mean, I don't... If we're asking what the biblical text reports, I think it's probably very different. I don't know that I would say I have any kind of a real understanding of Roman history at all, actually. I don't know. I don't consider a lot of harm being done by the Canaanites. I mean, any more than normal. You know, I think if the question is coming from, like, the biblical text seems to say that the Canaanites were these horribly wicked people that were doing all of these terrible things that, were deserving of annihilation. I think that's, well, it makes sense given the ideology of the biblical text, but
and Doorknob Heavy is saying, was the original language so staid and neutral, such as who had intercourse with me and genitals, or might it have been more racy and colourful language?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, this is...
Since this is in Sumerian, translations tend to err on the side of caution. And so with a Semitic language, you have several other languages that you can compare that particular Semitic root to,
Yep.
and so then you can get a better nuance. I think clearly here, intercourse is
A literal.
a little, probably a little too wooden.
Academic.
Yeah. That being said, probably the reason that they didn't go with rape because it might be anachronistic.
Yeah.
At least to some degree.
So
But I don't know that.
couple more questions. Who were the black-headed people? The black-headed people are the Sumerians.
I answered that one.
You did, but then it got asked again.
Sam.
I'm sorry. And also, someone else said a thing. Oh, what's with the repetition? It's just poetic style.
Sorry, I hadn't hit it in a while, so that's what she said.
Am I wrong?
No.
Oh, okay. It's poetic style. You see it in the majority of Sumerian, Mesopotamian, Akkadian. All of that literature has a lot of repetition.
And even in the biblical text, it's slightly different. Excuse me. They do a type of a type of parallelism where they, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So there's a development. Some people call it sharpening. I'm trying to remember. Somebody, boy, it's been years since I've read that. James Kugel, is that his name? Wrote a book on that. It's been, it's probably been 12 years since I've read that book. Anyway, but on biblical Hebrew poetry. But there's a lot of work that's been done on Hebrew poetry, so I'll stop talking. All right, Shukaletuda replied to holy Inanna, "My lady, I was to water garden plots and build the installation for a well among the plants, but not a single plant remained there, not even one. I had pulled them out by their roots and destroyed them. Then what did the storm wind bring? It blew the dust of the mountains into my eyes, and when I tried to wipe the corner of my eyes with my hand, I got some of it out, but was not able to get all of it out. I raised my eyes to the lower land and saw the exalted gods of the land where the sun rises. I raised my eyes to the highlands and saw the exalted gods of the land where the sun sets. I saw a solitary ghost. I recognized the solitary god by her appearance. I saw someone who possesses fully the divine powers. I was looking at someone whose destiny was decided by the gods. In that plot, had I not approached it 300 or 600 times before, there stood a single shady tree at that place. The shady tree was a Euphrates poplar with broad shade. Its shade was not diminished in the morning, and it did not change either at midday or in the evening. Once, after my lady had gone around the heavens, after she had gone around the earth, after Inanna had gone around the heavens, after she had gone around the earth, after she had gone around Elam and Subir, after she had gone around the intertwined horizon of heaven, the mistress became so tired that when she arrived there, she lay down by its roots. I noticed her from beside my plot. I had intercourse with her and kissed her there. Then I went back beside my plot. When he had spoken thus to her, added, changed, him, she determined his destiny. Holy Inanna spoke to Shukaletuda. So, you shall die. What is that to me? Your name, however, shall not be forgotten. Your name shall exist in songs and make the songs sweet. A young singer shall perform them most pleasantly in the king's palace. A shepherd shall sing them sweetly as he tumbles his butter churn. A young shepherd shall carry your name to where he grazes the sheep. The palace of the desert shall be your home. Shukaletuda, after 5 broken lines,
Did something.
a line missing, and then, because destiny was determined, praise be to Inanna.
So we don't really know what happened in the end.
I mean, I think this is an etiological
punished,
story, right? It's an etiological myth, so it's talking about why the shepherds praise in certain ways. It's a lot like Jephthah's daughter, the story of Jephthah's daughter. Never mind. So at the end, he dies, ostensibly.
Watching Rome Burn says, you were in Syria the year before full civil war was declared.
Mm-hmm.
Were people being mass executed everywhere when you were there?
No.
That's what CNN says was happening at the time.
No, definitely not. As a matter of fact, it was very, very orderly. And a lot of fun, actually. Aleppo, we flew into Damascus, and then every weekend we went to Aleppo for the day and walked around the city, and they've got this type of ice cream that's somewhat chalky, and and we got tons of falafel, and it was extremely inexpensive. I bought a nargila that I still have, actually. Maybe, yeah.
in the kitchen.
Maybe we can break it out sometime. I mean, it's Oliver. Hi, buddy. So, we are coming up on 2 hours, and now that Oliver is awake, I suspect our time is cut somewhat short. Oh, you can't touch the keyboard. Hi, buddy. Oh, are you hungry, pal? Right. So yeah, I thought Syria is beautiful. No, there was no war. It broke out the year after we were there, which is really sad because a lot of sites were destroyed. But I don't know that we know the state of Umamara at the moment. So yeah.
Glenn, the dig director, I remember the year after war broke out being incredibly worried about his friends and colleagues who lived at Umamara. Because the village is employed by the archaeologists when they go over and dig.
Yeah.
So you get to know people very, very well.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we're probably
done.
Probably end here on
Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah,
this was lovely.
And thank you so much for all of those super chats. I was unbelievably generous of all of you. We still have 63 people watching, and we have 63 we have 62 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down.
Hooray.
So I guess Jesus' Lord came into the stream. I'm just kidding.
It's either that or it's the Anunnaki.
It could be. It's the Illuminati.
Probably.
But this has been a lot of fun. We finished Gilgamesh and gave you that little teaser for Daniel, which I'm really going to make a push and try to get that thing out. But yeah, this has been great. So guys, thank you so much for all of this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write us at digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are around tonight, watch Skylar's debate with Vocab Malone. And we'll probably do something on digital fiction tomorrow, I think. And so anyway. Well, until next time, resist poor scholarship. Always ask, how do you know that? Bye, guys.